Hello and welcome back for another episode of Craven Some Raven. And in this episode, I guess this is going to be my preview slash prediction slash just going over general thoughts of this upcoming game when the Arizona Cardinals come to Baltimore to see if they can dethrone this high-flying Ravens attack. I know it's only been one game, but I am going to say that this is a high-flying Ravens attack. We've talked about this before, how explosive the offense can be, and it proven right to be so far. And Arizona Cardinals, they come to us with a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. So that doesn't seem to bode too well for him just straight off the bat. But, people around the national media and around the nation, they saw what Kyler Murray kind of did at the end of the game, and they're thinking, they might have something here. He can be a top quarterback in this league. They saw a great comeback. They saw what he could be. Now, will that happen? I don't know. And I tried to record this episode last night. Today is Friday, about like 7:30 Mountain Time. So on the East Coast, it's about 9:20. But I wanted to record yesterday after the Thursday night football game, but there was a rain delay and it took longer than I thought. The game was boring and I was tired, and I just did not want to record after such a pitiful performance. Maybe if it was a good football game, it did kind of come down to the wire, but overall just not good play on both teams, especially after being a fan of the Ravens and seeing, pristine football, seeing what it's supposed to look like, just watching that garbage. It was not fun. And I also lost money on it because in the previous podcasts when we do our picks, I said I bet the over, which I didn't. I bet the Panthers with the spread to win by over 7, which they did not cover that at all, obviously, because they lost. So lost money, boring game, did not want to record a podcast. But this is a Ravens podcast, so we'll start talking about that. We'll get off the subject of me losing money because it sucks, even though it was only like $5. But you know what? It's still money. It's you think you know something, you think you get it right, and you just don't. So it is what it is. So, like I was kind of saying, that a lot of national media and a lot of attention being given to Kyler Murray. Good. It seems right. He was the first overall pick in this last year's draft, so there is a lot of hype around him. Obviously, and then after an abysmal first 3 quarters versus the Lions, they started coming back, and they ended up tying the game. Now, people in the national media, they're saying, or more, they're questioning, like a lot of us are, is this, reasons to be excited? Is he going to actually keep winning like this? Is he going to, is the offense going to keep moving like it did in the fourth quarter, or is it going to wilter like it did in the first 3 quarters? And when it comes to the Ravens, come on, man. In this game, do people not remember the Baltimore Ravens? Do they not remember what they've built this franchise on? Do they not know what's brought us success and what John Harbaugh's continued to do, what our legacy is? The Ravens have had defense since, maybe not the first season, but since I want to say like 98, 99, they have been a defensive football team. John Harbaugh has continued that legacy even to this day. They still boast one of the best defenses in the league. And people want to say, well, I guess I was listening to Warren Sharp, and he was talking about the Ravens defense being susceptible to the spread. That's when the Dolphins had their most success last week. And it's true. That's when they did have their most success. And as a Ravens fan, we know you spread the Ravens out. That's when they are their most vulnerable. So when you get a team like the Arizona Cardinals running a spread system, they could be susceptible to getting scored on. That's true. But he's a rookie quarterback. This is, he's susceptible. The Dolphins, they had their most success in the spread. They scored 10 points, bro. They only scored 10 points. Now, I don't want to trash the Lions defense because I think it is underrated somewhat, but they are nowhere near the level that the Ravens are. The Ravens are an elite defense, and Kyler Murray is a rookie quarterback, and they have an offensive scheme that there's tons of tape on. It's not like this is some kind of scheme that's never been done before. The spread system, it's been implemented all over the NFL. No one else does it as much as they do. Now, we may be down some corners, but I still think rookie quarterback, we're going to get to him. We're going to hit him, no matter how elusive he may be. Listen, our defense has been facing Lamar Jackson all summer, so we know how to deal with a running quarterback, okay? They're looking for Kyler Murray to kind of build on the success he had in that fourth quarter, and I think this is the week not to do that, not to hope for this, because they keep sleeping. Remember, this is a Ravens defense, okay? That's all you need to know. As a national media member, just know this is a Ravens defense. How can I explain it by not explaining it? It's the Ravens defense. It's the only explanation you need. But now you pair that amazing defensive play, which we've always had, and you pair that with a explosive offense with what we got now. I think this is going to be another win. I might get to the predictions a little bit later, but I'm seeing this as another blowout. I think we just thoroughly thumped the Dolphins, and no one expected that. So now everyone wants to say the Dolphins are a trash team, which I think they will be one of the worst teams in the league. I think they will have a top 10 draft pick by the end of this year. Notice how I said top 10, not top 5, because who knows? They could end up going out and going 7-9 again. Repeat you, again. They went 7-9 last year, and they had a shit team last year. It's just, I think we just got up on them early, and we stayed on the pedal, and they didn't know what to do. Now, they scored 10 points on us, and since, like I was saying, this is a Baltimore Ravens team, so defense is our bread and butter. Spread them like bread and butter. Either way, 10 points is a lot for a Ravens fan to handle. I was triggered by that touchdown. I was offended by it. I had to call the cops. It was so offensive. I don't know. That was a dumb phrase. But listen, it was 10 points. In today's NFL, 10 fucking points. And I honestly don't think the Dolphins are going to be one of the worst teams in history. I genuinely don't think that. And after seeing what Lamar did to them, doing something to them that hasn't rarely done in the NFL, in history, to any team. And with all of the terrible teams of years past, we've had how many 0-16 teams? We've had like 2-3 of them, and none of them got blown out like this. I just think the Ravens have finally put that offense together that can compete with our defense, right? We've always had a great defense, but we've always just had, maybe they're good at running or they get really streaky in the passing game with Joe Flacco, but it was never dominant on both sides of the ball. And I think, we finally have paired a dominant offense with a dominant defense. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, their defense, I don't think is as good as the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have a way better defense. I don't know about way better, but they have a better secondary, a way better secondary than the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals, they have Peterson, but he's not playing. The guy who replaced him, he's not playing. I guess I got Budda Baker at safety. He was kind of nice coming out, but he hasn't really proven anything yet. Hassan Reddick hasn't proven anything yet. The only two guys on their defense that make me nervous, or not even nervous, just, the names are Terrell Suggs, who's one of ours, and Calais Campbell. Is he still there? Is he? Listen, I think we should be nervous about Terrell Suggs. That is one player that could be a difference. I think they might have a better pass rush than the Dolphins, so I think we're going to have to see Lamar scramble a little bit more. But Terrell Suggs does make me nervous. I think he might get 2 sacks this game, and I think that's just because, he is a veteran and he is still good in September. But, he's he's been going against Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown this past year and years prior, with Ronnie Stanley. He's been going against them. He's taught them moves, how to protect. So he's kind of hoping to himself that, hey, I'm glad I didn't show him everything. Maybe he held stuff back. I hope he didn't, but he knows these guys in and out. And if I'm going to give an advantage, Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown probably have more room to increase as offensive linemen. They have the ability to get better than Terrell Suggs does at this point in his game. He's already got technique down. He's already peaked physically. He's on the decline, if anything. But, mentally, he knows these players. And that does make me a little bit nervous. I think he could end up taking over this game. But luckily, I believe we have the offensive line scheme and the play calling ability to really just go away from him and to scheme up blocks and really come off of him. I'm hoping to see Lamar juke the shit out of Terrell Suggs. Now I hope we give him a standing ovation. I hope they show like a video of like, thanks Terrell Suggs, you the man. But at the same time, we can't look over this team. After such a dominant performance, that's what you run into. You get to the hangover of winning so handedly. You kind of rest. You rest your laurels, I guess. And the Ravens, they can't do that. Not this week, not any week, really. And even if the Ravens win this week, they're not going to get any credit, right? It's going to be, the Arizona Cardinals defense is trash. But I already knew this. I had talked about this in a previous episode. We are not going to get any credit until we beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which I believe we will. Unless we go out there and lay an egg and lose 40-0, I still believe that we are going to beat this Kansas City Chiefs team. But still talking about the Arizona Cardinals, I think we can just put up just as many points. Now, I don't want to predict we put up 59 again because that is kind of some historic shit. That's like all-time great games coming from a quarterback, let alone a guy who is perceived to not even be a quarterback and to be told to switch positions and a guy to go out there and prove everybody wrong and have a historic, like NFL historic day. More touchdowns than incompletions. That shit just doesn't happen every day. And, more on that. That's awesome. You get quarterbacks all the time, or really any player, any position, but specifically at quarterback, you say, this guy can do this. His potential is this. And a lot of quarterbacks, they never reach that potential. And in the first game of Lamar Jackson's second year, I'm pretty sure we can say that's his potential. That's his ceiling. It's only his second year, so is that his ceiling? I don't really know. There's still so much room for improvement, only being his second year. But being able to see that level of play as of right now, where you'd say that would be his ceiling. That you would say that was his ceiling, but he already reached it. So there's more room to grow. And to hit it this early, the sky is the limit for this guy. With this offense, with this team, with his career. And I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going to get in the way in that. It's going to be a win, let's be honest. Score-wise, if I'm just going to go predictions, I guess I'll just get into predictions right now. I don't know how long this episode's going to be. So far, it's only been 13 minutes, and I'm kind of running out of stuff to say. Because, this is just me talking, think of a few things here and there. But by the time I end up going to record the podcast, I've already forgotten some great points. Like, I'll be thinking during the day, like, oh, that's a good point. I'll say that in the podcast. And by the time I get to it, as of right now, I'm like, fuck, what was I going to say? I had a good point, but now I don't. So yeah, predictions-wise, I think the Ravens win 50-17. Drop another 50 burger. But Steven, that's crazy. You can't say that. Well, I just did. I'm hyped on this team. They've been flying high. Lamar proved them all wrong. And I think he goes back and does it again and says, hey, this was no fucking fluke. And what's great about this is it's not all on Lamar. This team still has the ability to run down your throat, which is what opened up that pass to begin with. So they are going to continue to do both. Have a balanced team approach to offense. Run the damn ball and throw it over their heads. There is no reason to me why I think they can't do that again. Like I said, this Arizona Cardinals defense is not as good in the secondary as the Dolphins. Versus the run, I would highly doubt that they're any better or any worse. I think they're just as meh. There's no one just like, even including Terrell Suggs, because we're gonna just run away from him, right? We're gonna scheme up runs to go away from Terrell Suggs. So there is without a doubt in my mind that we can put up points. Now, will we be able to make every play like we did last week? Probably not. But I still think, it's there. Hollywood's going to be there, and I think he's still going to be able to take the top off. Even after that performance and how they're probably going to shade someone over there, I think we're just going to be able to run down their throats and then still throw it over top. He is so fast, so quick, not many DBs are going to be able to keep up with him, at full sprint. Because if they can, they're going to have to give him such a cushion that everything is going to be open underneath. And he's going to get more people open underneath. Looking for Miles Boykin to have more catches. I'm thinking he's going to go off this game because I think they want to get him more involved. I think Mark Andrews is going to have yet another 100-yard game. Oh, he is the sleeper of this league when it comes to tight end. And, I have him on my fantasy. I have Marquise Brown on my fantasy. So I'm looking for both of these guys to go off. I think Marquise Brown gets another long touchdown, maybe two, who knows. He is just, Marquise Brown, man, he is just always open. I get it, he's small, and he makes me nervous when he's out there because he is really, really small. And he's not as elusive as a Lamar Jackson, so he makes me nervous when he gets hit just because he is that tiny, and he's got that foot thing. As much as I think he is fine, they're still kind of watching his snap count, so you still got to be kind of nervous about that. But that speed, you can't teach it. So I think he still goes over the top and gets some points, man. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, Terrell Suggs, right? I already predicted he might get 2 sacks. And we got to be careful because he could take over this game. We got to send some extra blockers his way. We're going to have to pull to hit him. We're going to have to make sure we don't throw any screens his way because how good he is at defending those, right? We've seen it for too long. And, it goes both ways. How much, he might know about Ronnie Stanley and Orlando Brown. We know about him. We've been with him for 16 years. So John Harbaugh knows him. Greg Roman knows him. They practiced against him. So it goes kind of both ways. So it might just cancel each other out. But what makes it awesome, and it's like, he might get terrorized more via the pass rush. Lamar might, right? But we saw him running from defenders against the Dolphins and still make plays, still make the right decisions, and get the ball out to his guy. So I have no doubt in my mind that he's able to do it versus a pass rush, a good pass rush, or a crap pass rush. I think just Lamar is able to do it, man. He's just got that ability. And I think we finally get to see Lamar Jackson take off for a big gain, and I think we see his first rushing touchdown. Versus the Dolphins, that bootleg was open damn near all day with the way we ran the ball down their throats. They weren't ready for it. They didn't even see it coming. The Ravens just decided not to use it. Now, I think the Ravens this week, I think they won't need to use it once again, but I think they go ahead and do it. I think they go ahead and just put it on tape. Like, the purpose of him taking a bootleg is just to put it on tape. Just to say, hey, look, we can still do this. Lamar can still beat any of your cornerbacks, any of your linebackers to the edge. He can still do that. Remember, and defensive coordinators, I think, all year long are going to be nervous. They're going to be pissed off. They're going to be, what do we do? What do we do? And they probably won't know what to do. I think we're just going to put up points this year, right? Am I right? And defensively, last week I got my interceptions correct. I said 2 interceptions, 1 to Earl Thomas, 1 to Marlon Humphrey. Go back and check the tape on that. I'm pretty sure I am not lying. And this week, I think we get 2 interceptions again. I think we give 1 to Peanut and 1 to Anthony Levine, right? And I think these aren't just solid interceptions. I think these are tip ball interceptions. Because when Kyler Murray faced the Lions, who, like I said, I think they have an underrated defense, but it's not great. It's not our defense. I don't know exactly the number, but he had a lot of tipped balls. He had a lot of balls tipped at the line of scrimmage. And I think the Ravens saw that on tape, and they're thinking to themselves, if let's get our hands on some more balls. He is a short quarterback. We have throughout history tipped a lot of balls. Tipping balls, that's what the Ravens do. And I think, we tip a couple of them and they go right into our linebackers and our nickel safeties. So that's why I'm saying Anthony Levine and Peanut. I think they're both just going to be sitting there in coverage or be in the right spot, right time, and they just have one come right to them. I'm looking for 4 batted balls. I'm looking for 3 sacks once again, but just a ton of pressure. We might not get home, but we're going to get a ton of pressure that's causing a lot of incompletions, having some good coverage down the field. Now we are down in quarterback. We are not as elite as we used to be with the injuries to Tavon Young and Jimmy Smith, who's also going to be out. But I think we get to Kyler Murray enough that he's not able to just sit back there and deliver the ball, deliver strikes, deliver some dots. I think we are going to get in the way, get in the throwing lanes, tip some balls, and really just get after it, frustrate him to the point where, he's able to score 17 points. And I think, he gets 2 field goals in 3 quarters, and then he gets a touchdown. I guess he gets 1 field goal, and then in the 4th quarter, he gets 2 touchdowns, maybe, I don't know. I think he scores late, and that's where the 17 comes in. I just think, he gets a lucky ball. Maybe Christian Kirk gets a crazy one. Kenny Young bounces off of a tight end or something, even though they don't really use the tight end. But it's Max Williams. So, yeah, getting off the predictions a little bit, we got guys coming back, man. We got ex-Ravens coming to town. We've already talked about Terrell Suggs, but we got Max Williams and Michael Crabtree. I don't know if Michael Crabtree is going to be playing, but we got players who are familiar with the Ravens' defense coming back. Now, I don't think it really matters so much because the Ravens, it's still somewhat see ball, get ball, right? So nothing they do is going to help them. Our defense has changed. There's different reads. It's a new year. I think if anything, they say, shit, guys, we got to be careful. This is a good defense. I think that's what they're saying. They're not giving insights as to how we can beat them. It's more, yeah, we're fucked, guys. We ended that last game on a hot streak, but I think, yeah, it's about to come to an end. That hot pocket has cooled down quickly and is now frozen on the inside. That is Kyler Murray. He is the hot pocket, right? He's small, little pocket. He can get hot, but either way, that's a bad analogy. This podcast is kind of not my best one. I'm not really feeling it so far, not at 100%. But you know what? We will power through. So getting back to the predictions a little bit. So I said 50 points, another 50 burger, which means that we are going to start the season, first 2 games, over 100 points. Now, I don't think this one is going to be a Jackson 5 game, like I predicted the Dolphins game would be. Got that one right yet again. I just think we get the running game involved a little bit more because I think they try to stop the pass a little bit more after seeing Marquise Brown go off and Lamar Jackson just have a hell of a day. I could keep mentioning it and it still gets me excited. But I think we run the ball more. I'm looking for Mark Ingram to go over 100 again. Looking for Gus Edwards to actually have a little bit more yards, get 80 or so. Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to run. Justice Hill might break one. So I don't know how many yards we got last week. It was over 200. So I think we go over 200 again. I think we get close to the 300. So I think 275 yards rushing is not out of the realm, against this Cardinals defense. I think we still have passing success, but I think we don't get the Jackson 5, right? We don't get that level of him dominating success. But I do think he will get at least 1 passing touchdown, so he will tie and eclipse his totals from last year in just 2 games. What? Only 2 games and wow. And he's going to pass what he did last year. Pass. Pun intended. Not really, but it was a shit pun. But I mean, this is going to be, I think, another dominating performance. And the talk is going to be, is this for real? Is this Ravens team for real? It's going to be the same exact thing. People are going to say again, well, this is the Cardinals defense, one of the worst defenses in the league. And it's awesome. The schedule gods, set us up with some tuner fights with these first 2 games, and it's awesome. You can't take nothing away from the Ravens, other than, hey, they put up numbers. I mean, you're talking 59 points. That's historic. Talking 50 the next week, historic. I don't know if it's historic, but I mean, it damn near should be, because these are numbers that, a lot of bad teams throughout history, a lot of good teams throughout history, and they have met all along the way. They have played each other the whole time, and no one's doing this. So the Ravens are doing something special on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, and I think it's going to be hard to stop them from, really having their way with another team, really. I mean, if we can kind of prove that this is not a fluke and continue to score, and then, you go up against a team like the Chiefs, you can score like the Chiefs, but still have a top 3 defense? Come on, son. This is a Super Bowl team. They're going to be vying for a Super Bowl, at least a deep playoff push. And, you never know what happens when the playoffs come. You don't know how Lamar is going to perform in that big stage. But, he got there once. That's been on his mind. I think the Ravens are genuinely going to have a dynasty here. Maybe not a Super Bowl dynasty, but, a good team that gets to the playoffs each and every year. Now, I hope it's a dynasty. I'm just not ready to predict that. I'll predict all the livelong day that Lamar Jackson's going to be a Hall of Famer. But Super Bowls, so much has to go right. Even the Patriots, all of their Super Bowls, there's been luck involved. Even our Super Bowl, every single Super Bowl winning team has had some sort of luck along the way. That's how difficult the NFL is. Once you get to the end there's so many good teams, and all of them are well-deserving to win and have the ability to win the Super Bowl. It's just, do you get that bounce? Do you get that bounce at the end? Now, I'm hoping the Ravens can do that. They can get that bounce. I think they have the talent to at least get to the point where let's just see where luck decides us. Let's see where the football gods decide to let us hang our hats on. We're 2-0 in the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that at another point. We're nowhere near that. It is week 2. Who knows what could happen? John Harbaugh could die in a fire. There could be a meteor that hits the whole team and everyone dies. You don't want to put that out on the internet like I just did, but you just never know. We could get We Are Marshalled. You don't know. So I'm looking for another dominant win. It's hard to continue to kind of say the same thing over and over again, because recently these podcasts have been coming out to being like 40 minutes long. And this one, it's like I'm running out of stuff to say. I don't think there's much else to say besides a dominating performance by the Ravens. I don't see another team in the NFL who's as dominant on offense and defense. Maybe the Patriots. Probably the Patriots. But they've always been like that. So we can't count them. Right? No, I think these are going to be 2 of the best teams in the league. I think Patriots and Ravens. I genuinely think that. There's a reason I started this podcast in the first place. The reason I was so willing to do it. I always loved the Ravens, loved following the Ravens through and through, every day looking at Ravens stuff. But, I'm not the only one here. You just felt it, with Lamar Jackson. You just felt something happening. And I decided, I needed to talk about Ravens. There's no Ravens fans where I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm sure there are, but there's no one who I can go up and start talking Ravens, for an hour with. No one wants to do that with me, because they're like me, when someone starts talking about their team who isn't the Ravens, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Or when someone's talking about their fantasy team, it's like, well, it's not my fantasy team, so I don't give a shit. Your players are trash. You're trash. You ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be shit. But, so I just wanted to talk some Ravens and put it to somewhat of a use, be heard, I guess, hoping people feel the same way I do, because sometimes I feel like I got weird takes. I continue to have weird takes. I still hate the word magic when it comes to a quarterback. I still hate forward progress. And if you haven't heard my rant on that, then go back to the episode where I did that. I talked about forward progress and how I think it's the worst thing in the NFL. Maybe not the worst, but I don't like it. Either way. Yeah, man. I think it's another thumping of a team. Yeah, because, I thought this team was going to be good, like I've continued to say, and they just had to go out there and prove it against a bad team. And they did what they were supposed to do and exceeded it. If they scored 35-10, I would have said, yes, that's what you're supposed to do. Good teams beat bad teams in that fashion. Not 59, bro. So for me, the sky's the limit. I know you don't want to read too much into the first week. Fuck that, man. I'm a Ravens fan, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I've always drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't care. My expectations are way too high right now. I'm not going to get mad if they don't meet 50 points, but I'm expecting the W. I don't think my expectations are too high. Maybe my predictions are too high. But I'm all in, baby. I am all in. Okay? Go back to listen to any one of these podcasts. I've been all in. I've been right for most stuff, especially covering the draft. I've been right about a lot of these players. So, man, I am just super stoked. Can't wait to see this game again. Can't wait to see Lamar put on another show. Like I said, gets a running touchdown this week. I think he does it in exciting fashion, or it's just super simple, just a naked bootleg, and he just runs it in without being touched. Not even difficult for him. I just think we're going to make defensive coordinators around the league nervous yet again. So good luck, Cliff Kingsbury. Good luck, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's got midget face. I don't know if that's politically correct to say, but you know how midgets have that certain look on their face. They have that midget face. I think Kyler Murray's got a little bit of that. Now, he's not a midget, though. He's not a little person, which is just as offensive to me, That phrase, little person, wow, that's offensive. Midget, it's a word. A dwarf, they're not magical, so I don't like calling them dwarves. Either way, he's got that weird forehead. He's got midget forehead. I don't know. He's got some DNA in him, right? But he's only 5'10". That's not really. It's short for a quarterback in the NFL, but that's not short for walking around, I mean, I'm taller than him, but if I saw him, I wouldn't say, "Oh my God, you are so short." But yet he's got midget face. Just something I noticed. Don't get mad at me. If you are, comment about it and like the podcast as well. I am on iTunes. Wait, what did I just say? I'm on YouTube. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. If you're listening, wherever you're listening, please, drop a like, give a rating, do anything you can to help me. I'm just a lonely man with a lonely podcast, just trying to make my way through this world. I don't think it's the best content. I'm literally just talking here as a fan, but I hope you appreciate what I'm doing. Just bearing my soul of Ravens football out to you, the people. So, thanks for listening. I think that's going to do it, man. I've run out of stuff to say. I think next week I'm going to have a lot of stuff to say because we are facing the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's a lot that goes into that game, a lot of narratives, I believe, a lot of talk. So look out for that stuff. Thank you for listening, and I will leave you with a go, Ravens.